Welcome to the next in our series of webcasts, and this is really about the 7 deadly conference sins. Now, there are 2 thoughts that pop into your head the minute that you hear that you're about to attend your company's annual conference. These are 1, at least I'm not working today, and 2, I hope it's better than last year. Let's be honest, the word conference doesn't exactly evoke images of inspiration and dynamism. In fact, it's more likely to conjure up a dimly lit, vacuous room in a bland hotel chain with a string of company executives talking at you through a series of illegible slides. It doesn't have to be this way though. In this webcast, I'm going to spell out the 7 deadly conference sins. So let's kick off with the first of our deadly sins. This is the let's get the head of department to present conference. Now, on paper, this looks perfectly sensible. You divide the day into 20-minute segments and you get the leaders in your business to stand there. It gives them an opportunity to tell the world about what they've achieved in their department over the last 12 months. What possibly can be wrong with this? Well, firstly, the heads of department could be really good at heading up their department. But you know what? The chances are they're lousy at public speaking. They stand in the dark, motionless behind a lectern, and all we can see is a relentless stream of dull, wordy PowerPoint slides. And because they are from another department to your own, most of the content is for information only. That's okay because you like to take a holistic view and you're interested in how other departments operate. But as they get off the stage and another person comes up, another anonymous presenter with another million slides replace them, you're now thinking, gosh, when will the coffee break come? So what should you do instead? Well, first of all, we need to avoid death by PowerPoint. The key thing is to understand what is your story, what is the theme of today, what is the purpose of you being there? And I would suggest to you that you should have 1, 2, or a maximum of 3 themes covering one entire day. The second is how you structure this conference. And I use PICKY. PICKY stands for, first of all, purpose. I've mentioned the theme. What's your story? Secondly, interaction. Yes, get the group interacted. But in a second, I'm going to talk about the challenge of making it fun. Don't be fooled by fun. Thirdly, ensure the content is 100% relevant to the people that are sitting there. And lastly, implementation. Once you discuss the content, you need to discuss, so what difference will this make to you? If it isn't relevant and practical to the people sitting there, then why are you telling them? So, let's talk about the second deadly sin. This is the let's make it fun conference. Wouldn't it be great if we had all of our people sitting on the stage throwing apples in the air, juggling them? Whoa, wouldn't that be fun? It sounds great, doesn't it? The problem is, I'm turning up to this conference thinking, oh my gosh, is this really what we're spending our day doing? So yes, make it fun, but please make it relevant. If you want fun, my recommendation would be go and hire Peter Kay. He'll do a much better job at making the conference fun than you organising and paying for a company to do fun activities. Let's move on to our third deadly sin of conferences. This is the let's get a celebrity to come and speak conference. Now, to add a bit of razzmatazz to proceedings, you book a celebrity from the sporting world. Let's say it's Andy Murray. He's won Grand Slams. So it stands to reason that he's going to be an awesome speaker. Right? Well, not really. If anybody saw Andy Murray being interviewed when he won Sports Personality of the Year, then you'll realise that his strength isn't really public speaking. Now, your people will be excited that your company conference is important enough to warrant hiring somebody like Andy Murray. So there's a tick. Well done. And their achievements in the sporting world will actually make you think, wow, they're such a credible guest. But a good speaker needs more than just credibility. They need appropriate humour. They need the ability to connect and engage with the audience. And above all, they need to deliver a message that is in tune with your key objectives for the day. Do you remember earlier we spoke about a theme, a story? Well, they need to be talking about that story. One of the things that tends to happen in my experience is that Andy Murray will try to link to that theme. And he'll say, selling widgets is a lot like hitting a tennis ball. Well, thank you, Andy, but you know what? It isn't. And that's the challenge that you will have. I've also attended conferences where the same joke was delivered by two external speakers. The reason why? Well, one of the speakers turned up for the afternoon and wasn't there in the morning. They deliver what they thought was an absolute killer joke. Quite frankly, I've heard it around about 2 hours ago. It falls flat. So the key about organising a celebrity is, yeah, it will add kudos for the event, but don't expect them to deliver your key messages. So let's move on to the fourth deadly sin. This is a great one. This is the let's get the team involved conference. Now, your last conference, you hired the celebrity. That didn't work. The previous one to that is you had the death by PowerPoint. That didn't work. So this time, you're going to get interaction from the team. Isn't that a great idea? Because quite frankly, isn't the conference all about the people? Right? Well, yeah, but the way you do it isn't right. What you decide to do is get the people involved by breaking them into a series of syndicates and getting those guys to brainstorm ideas and present back to the room. So imagine a situation. We have 7 flip charts around a conference room. We have teams of 6 working on those. And then each presenter comes back and they start to present. And it's well received. The second group go, and despite covering some of the first group's thoughts, they do come up with a couple of additional ideas. Then the third group go, and it's all starting to feel a little bit déjà vu. The volunteers from the group, still to present, are now wishing they'd gone first, because quite frankly, they're looking at their list and it's exactly the same as the ones that have gone before. The delegates are starting to reach for their phones to check on emails. The facilitator realises that this is now getting dull. But how do you stop this process? I've gone through 5, I need to complete the 7, otherwise it's unfair to the others. Eventually you finish. Except it isn't over. Because what you then announce is, now that we brainstormed that, why don't we go and brainstorm another exercise? And off you go and deliver exactly the same exercise again. This scenario will always cause an issue. Yes, have interaction. It's fantastic if it's in short bursts, but maximum 3 groups to present. And actually, each group should be presenting on a different subject. That way you reduce the amount of overlap and it's much more engaging for the individuals. So, let's move on to sin number 5. This I love. I've been on a few of these. They're good fun. It's the work hard, play hard conference. The company has had a good year. What better way to celebrate than put everyone up in a hotel and let everybody let their hair down? It's a free bar, and the bar will not close until the last person goes to bed, which normally means some people won't even quite get to bed, certainly not their own bed. They deserve to have a good time because quite frankly they deserve it. So what's the problem here? Well, you're the problem here. You scheduled your 2-day conference with the overnight stay in the middle of the 2 days. Now that made sense, didn't it? At the time it did, but now it's the morning of day 2. And as your first speaker takes to the stage, they are greeted, not with that, which was the night before, they're greeted with that. They are greeted with a sea of green faces, thumping heads. Now, are they really going to be in the zone to get the best out of the session? This conference cost a fortune. And you believe it's totally unprofessional for people to turn up to a conference, drink too much and not get up the following morning. But it was your fault. You turned what was supposed to be a celebration into now a difficult HR situation. And for the amount of learning that your people are going to get on that second day, you may as well send them home. So, there's nothing wrong with having a party, but why don't you do it on a Friday night? Or have it on a school night, but give them the next day off. That's the way to organise a work hard, play hard. The next one. This is Let's Relax in a Golf and Country Club conference. Now, again, your people have had a really good year. You love your people. So what better way to give them a treat at a golf and country club? The guys can play golf. The girls can have a spa treatment. Everybody is happy. Except this isn't a conference. This is a day out. Don't confuse the two. You are motivating and rewarding your staff. But a conference is an opportunity to develop and educate your people, to communicate your vision, to innovate your service offerings. All of that has now been lost. But let's just hope the golf was worth it. I hope you played well, because that's literally what you're getting out of this conference. And lastly, our 7th deadly sin of conferences. This is the Let's Present the Awards at the End conference. Now, what's wrong with this one, I hear you cry? Well, there is no better place than to recognise your people with a wonderful award ceremony. Just imagine your high achievers are there, the bright lights, the rapturous applause, the admiration from the whole company. And when delivered well, this is an awesome spectacle. However, in my experience, it normally doesn't look like this. What typically happens is the award ceremony is tagged on at the end of a day's conference, almost as an afterthought. One or two individuals get a mention, they walk up to the stage, they receive a bottle of normally quite cheap champagne, and the secretary stands there and takes a picture on their phone. That's it. A year of hard graft over in 5 minutes. Now, not only is this an anticlimax for the person receiving the award, but the rest of the team are hardly going to be motivated to bust a gut to achieve that next year, are they? What you need to do is give the award the time that it deserves. You need to think like the Oscars. You need to give each category a big build-up. Read out nominations. That's what they do in the Oscars. That way, if there are 5 nominations in a category, you've already recognised those 5 people. And then get the music pumping. Because as you give the winner is, the person will feel $1 million as they come up. And do you know what? Get a professional photographer, not the PA, to take the photograph. So, they are our 7 conference deadly sins. I'm hoping that you've experienced some of those, so you understand what I was talking about. I guess also, I feel for you if you've experienced some of those as well. So whether or not you're organising a conference, whether or not you are helping to organise a conference, think about those areas and don't fall into those traps. Think about the key theme. Make sure that all of your speakers make it very relevant. Have interaction, but make sure that interaction has some sort of relevance back to the theme. And lastly, in terms of relevance, ensure that your people will walk away better at doing their job than they did when they first walked in. Thank you for your time. And now we have 5 minutes for you to ask questions to us. Thank you.